I like it. It helps me in my real life, in my creative work. It can help in our life, in our creative life. I don't know. I was so inspired how people create everything in different ways and
in the real world.
Yes, in the real world, it was my dream my dream to find such a place in the world, and I found it. And I was happy. Gregangelo invited me to share my experience with artificial intelligence because I like it. It helps me in my real life, in my creative work. In Ukraine, last 11 years, I was working like real estate agent. But I always need to be creative. I wrote a book about how to buy a flat, and I crocheted like these many things for myself, and I create everything. We made music evenings with my friends. They are musicians, and they're still in Ukraine. I play violin here. I teach kids and grown-ups to play violin, and I came to the USA to be creative in every field of our life, in every area. That is why what I'm doing here, I'm working like inspiration mentor or creative coach. I'm working with creative people, help them with their ideas. So that is why I learned it and tell you about artificial intelligence. Then I will tell you my real stories of my life and life of my friends, how we use it, and then we will have like workshop. We'll play with cards. It's small. We'll make it with the Ukrainian coaches, and it's really powerful. It will be small game, and I will show you how it works. I want you to love artificial intelligence and understand that it can help in our life, in our creative life. That's why first I will read, and then I will share with you my experience. How a creative person can become friendly with artificial intelligence and use it for profit. These texts I wrote by myself, not AI. Because now it's easier. I will show you it's easier to make, but it's my emotions. And many years ago, when the photo camera was invented, artists were afraid that a little more and no one would need their art. They thought that photography would replace fine art. It was 1822, and now 200 years past, artists are still in demand and interesting to people. My father is in Ukraine and he's an artist, and I know about about artists many things. And when cinema appeared, and this happened in the end of 19th century, many people thought that the theater will cease to be as popular as it used to be, and maybe even disappear altogether. And when television was created, everyone decided that film industry was over, and the live performances of musicians, theater, and artists will stop. And again, people told that no one will need it. And so it is in all areas. In music, they thought that electronic instruments would replace acoustic ones. In everyday life, it seems that everything would be made by machines. Nevertheless, responsible people clean everything better. People cook. We see that, no, I don't know. The robot can make such food, such tasty food, delicious. And not robots and machines, together with numerous microwave ovens, electronic applicants, and smart homes, you can do it. But in any case, a person has learned to interact with various devices in everyday life, and thus save himself time. And vacuum cleaners and toasters help clean the house and cook faster. Electronic devices help us in navigation, in medicine, in music, and in any kind of creativity for a long time. And I can talk endlessly about how electronic devices make our lives easier. Even our phones, yes, we can connect with each other. And I talked with my mother, she's now in Germany, or father in Ukraine. It's connecting people. And what happened when artificial intelligence began to develop even more? I learned not only to create coffee, but also to write poetry in the style of Edgar Poe, write texts in the power of favorite writer. We still imitate our teachers in one way or another. In order to develop our style, we still copy what we like first. It's how we learn. Yes, we see what we like. We have our teachers who teach us to do like they do, and then we will find our style. That how can artificial intelligence help us to? But what if artificial intelligence is an opportunity to implement your ideas faster, express them first, and show them to the outside world? Like internet helps us to show people what we are doing now. It's easy. It's very easy to become popular in YouTube or TikTok or any social media. You just make a video, and if you're interesting to people, they will look and they will know you. Okay, what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is a part of computer science that makes a computer or computer-controlled robot think like a human. This forces computers to learn and to make decisions based on data in the same way that we learned from our own experience. But the advantage of AI is that it learns now not only from the experience of one person, but from the experience of all mankind. That is, it studied all the subjects of art, all the creative directions that exist in the world, and not a single person are capable of this. Sounds unbelievable, I think. But let's remember what AI is already being used. It's used in healthcare. AI helps doctors recognize diseases and make diagnosis much more accurately and than ordinary person. In transport, self-driving cars and smart traffic lights use AI. In shopping, AI helps stores learn what shoppers like and manage merchandise and predict future trends. And finally, what we are for, art and music and all creative professions that we have. I can create new works of art, help with design, and compose music. AI in arts is become popular, and it can create new work of art, write poetry and create melodies, and become a creative partner rather than a treat to all creative people. As I have said earlier, some people believe that AI will replace artists and creative people. They think that AI can create art on its own, but it can't. AI is just a tool that artists can use to create new and great things. AI cannot replace human imagination. I believe in it and I know this. It can create something at the request of a person, and relying on the experience of previous generation, it can breathe new life in creativity and into our projects. For example, how we can use it in creative areas close to you guys. Design, generation of ideas and concepts for interior design, clothing, architectural design, etc. And assistance in choosing color combinations, fonts, compositions, and creating 3D models from sketches. When you want to write text, writing texts, generating ideas for plots, characters, dialogues, helping structuring the plot, building the logic of the story. Because sometimes I write books and sometimes you don't remember what was in the beginning and you lost this logic, but it can help you with this too. Music, you can you can use it to write some temps and create your own music, and you can create ideas for different areas. That is why. And AI allows you to automate routine and labor-intensive tasks, freeing creative people from having to spend time on mechanical works. For example, AI can generate basic thumbnails of melodies, pre-cut videos, and write draft text, and so on. In addition, AI is able to process huge amounts of data, find non-obvious connections and patterns. This expands the creative possibilities and allows you to generate new non-standard ideas that are difficult to obtain without the use of technology. In general, integrating AI into the creative process makes it more productive and efficient. While inspiration still comes from humans, AI can greatly speed up the implementation of creative ideas. And now I will tell you how I used it in my creative job, and then I will show you how I did it. For example, it was my experiment to create a book about artificial intelligence. I had an idea to show people how easy to create something. If you want to share your experience, I don't speak about literature, yes, but if you have some experience and you want to share, you can easily make the book. And I wrote the plan with the help of AI. Most of text I wrote myself, but the plan, the main plan, what ChatGPT gave me, I used. Then when the text was ready, for sure I didn't write it in English. I translated with the help of artificial intelligence, because Google Translate is not really good in this. And then I took text and generate pictures. These pictures generated of text I wrote. And I create the cover and everything myself, and it takes me not many time. And it was my idea to try how it will work to put in Amazon, because I am working on my book, which I wrote myself. It's about life on Mars, or life in three dimensions. It's about life of a woman who was invited to go to Mars like a creative states coach, because I think it's a very important profession that I have, because people are more in stress every time with artificial intelligence, new technologies, and when people will go to Mars, maybe maybe not, but they will need the person who will organize their mood to be to be in good mood, and to spark them to live in such situation. And this book that I showed you, it was like training to how it will work, how can I use it to make it quicker. Because previous book I made in Ukraine, even cover with the artists, we work on the, not this, but other book, we worked on near 4 months. And it was really difficult to explain what you want, and it's really easier for me to explain AI what I want. I worked in the family, and there was a girl 7 years old, and she was like felt herself alone, lonely, and I
think it's suggested.
Suggested. My ChatGPT the best. And I told her that she liked to tell stories, and I told her, let's write the book, because it will help you to feel yourself.
So she feels like she's not lonely, she's not alone and stuff.
Yeah, and we created. We didn't finish yet, but I will share soon because it's in the end. We created. She wrote her text. Yes, it's okay. It's not tragic, but we used photographs of her family and put through Midjourney and create a magic word of her life. It's stories of her life, and she was so impressed because it were not the pictures, the real pictures, but she understood that it's stories of her family, and after all, she felt herself more
like connected to the world.
Itself, because she needs support. One project, not project, but how can I help people? I have a friend, she's a photographer. Now she lives, thanks to war, in France. And she has a friend, now he's in prison. For repeat, in prison in Ukraine. And the poems, he writes poems. He make voice messages to her, and she sent me text, and I make pictures with Midjourney, and she create TikTok videos, and it's inspired him to live. Because in prison it's very difficult to not lose your mind. That is why even in such situation, he's in Ukraine, I'm in America, in USA, she's in France. We create something that support people. That is why it's amazing. And in my sessions, even I use to generate pictures of emotions that people feel now, because sometimes. Even for me, it's difficult to turn on imagination inside you. When you want to think about your life of dream or something else, sometimes I don't see the pictures. And when you tell and AI show you, and you, oh yes, this I want to dream about. It's like it's a simple explanation, but how it works. Then my friend from Ukraine, she's host of transformational games, and she's like teacher. She teach people to how to create games, and she was pregnant when this big war started, and she ran to France. She was very depressed. When she knows about Midjourney, it's the AI that creates pictures. She was so inspired. She was trying different things, and she created the project with 88 of coaches from Ukraine, and we made such metaphorical cards, which we use in our sessions with working with people. It's not like tarot. This helps different therapies, psychologists to open your mind and to find quicker answers. And you will see how deep and interesting pictures are. They're not simple. We made requests together with these creative coaches, not creative, life coaches and therapists, and everybody put inside it his own meaning. But when you will see, now you can close your eyes and think, what do you want to ask the universe? And when you are ready, I can give you the picture one by one to answer the questions. What do you feel? What about is your request? And how it can help with your request in your real life? What do you see?
I was thinking about renewal and just seeing a lot of death and pain.
Calling out. What's on the great for your hair? Yeah, that's what I just checked.
It's interesting to see, like from an artist's perspective, like what is useful.
how it can be. It's kind of